Hey there, small business owner. Are you ready to fall deeper in love with your business? Do you want to know how to do that? Do you want to know what the foundation of that is, what the fundamentals are? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to break down what are these fundamentals that you keep talking about, Aaron. So, welcome into Fundamentals Friday. Here we go. All right. Well, welcome into Fundamentals Friday. My name is Aaron Montgomery. I'm with our success group. And today I wanted to talk to you about what are these fundamentals, right? You guys hear me talk about foundation and fundamentals all the time. If you've ever tuned in or if you're listening from somewhere where you've heard me before, right? So that's what this book is all about, right? We've got the fundamentals there. And so I wanted to take some time, just a short amount of time here today, obviously answer any questions that you got if you're tuned in live, or if you're listening to the replay, please put your questions or comments or thoughts in there. But I want to break down for you guys what the 13 fundamentals are and kind of what that looks like a little bit. So you guys have a better idea of what I keep talking about and why I believe they're so important. So if that sounds like a good plan, rhetorical question, because that's what I'm doing. So if you want something else, you're going to have to speak up. But let's do this. Let's dive into first off, before we get into the 13 fundamentals. One thing about this book, and there's a reason that there's a tree here and there's roots here and things like that, because not only are there 13 fundamentals, but those kind of fall into three categories or three elements, really, three areas that we need to focus on for small business success. And so let me start with those. The three areas, again, remembering that we're talking about kind of the idea of growing a money tree here, is we have to plant, right? We have to put the seed in the ground. That's really where we get the passion started. That's where the roots are at. We have to put that seed in the ground and get those roots growing first. So that's the plant phase. And then we've got the prepare phase. And this is where we kind of tend to the seed, the seedling, make sure that the weeds are pulled. Just have a plan of action. How are we going to get this tree to grow? And so that's the second element. And then the third element is the pollinate phase, right? So we've got the branch, we've got the trunks in our plan. This tree's starting to grow some limbs, and then all of a sudden they start flowering. We have to pollinate, right? We have to get that tree to start bearing fruit, bearing much fruit, right? We have to have the tree start growing that money. And so we've got to pollinate, and that's really taking action. All right. So we've got our mindset right in the plant phase. We've got the plan together. Now we need to start taking action. And these are a cycle. These are a system that we continuously put into play. And if we can do these things on a continuous basis, if we commit to our own success, we can end up with a very successful business. So that's kind of the idea. The foundation here is we have those three elements: plant, prepare, and pollinate, which is mindset, plan, action. And from those three elements, then we have 13 different fundamentals that we need to focus on. So let me put that up. Let me see if I can actually put that up on screen. It might be a little bit better. I didn't even think about that, but I can share it on screen here, I believe. So let's find out what this looks like. All right. Adding that to screen. There you go. Okay. So there are our 13 fundamentals. We're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So number one, the first fundamental, and it's called empower yourself. And if you'll notice, anytime I really start digging into a training or something like that, I actually never start with this one, because we have to grow into this. But the reality is this is where it all starts. So empower yourself means we have to take 100% responsibility for our own success. Because once we start blaming, once we start talking about why it's, justifying excuses, all of those things, that's when we've given away our power. Now somebody else is responsible for our success. And yes, that might take some load off, but the reality is then you're just basing your business success on luck or happenstance, or man, I hope somebody comes and picks me up, right? And I understand that we do need some help, right? We do need some things to go our way and whatnot. But even if things don't go our way, even if things seems like everything is against us, right? The reality is we can turn that corner through empowering ourselves, right? And so we have to understand that we can't control the experiences, we can't control the things that happen to us, but we can control our actions, how we respond to those experiences. And therefore, that's what creates our outcome or our successes is based solely on our actions, right? So that's the first fundamental. That's the idea that we have to first be willing to say, okay, I'm going to take 100% responsibility for my own success. And once you do that, once you've committed to that and you stay committed to that, here's the great news. Stay committed to that. You will never fail. Right? There may be times where you feel like you're not there, but only until you let go of that responsibility, only until you let go of that commitment is when you fail, when you give up. Right. But until that time, or never that time, right? So keep committed. So that's number one. Number two is clarify your reason. And some people might call the reason your why. If you've read the book by Simon Sinek, Start with Why. That's why a lot of people use what's your why in that place because of that book, I believe, popularized that idea. Some people might call it a mission statement, your passion, your reason is what we call it here at our success group. And the reason for that reason, because I like saying reason, no, the reason for that reason is our reasons have to be bigger than our excuses, right? So, see fundamental number one, 100% responsibility, letting go of the excuses. The only way to do that is to have a reason that's bigger than any excuses that we might come up with, right? So, why did you start this business? Why are you in this business, right? And most of us think it's because we want to make money, right? But is there not maybe an easier way? Like, have you ever had a bad day and gone, man, I wish I would just, right, go get a job or something like that? So we've got to make sure that we clarify that. And the cool part about this is it actually comes from who we are. So this is like who you are as a person, what you've been put on this earth to do. And every single one of us, by the way, no matter what, whether you're a small business owner or not, every single one of us has been put on this earth for some particular purpose or reason. And that particular purpose or reason can be found in the intersection of a few things: your passions, your strengths, and your values, right? And so that's what the second fundamental is all about, really getting clear on that and how we do that. Okay. So, third fundamental is reignite self trust. If you think about your average day, how many commitments are you making in an average day? Like, be honest with yourself. Even the like the small in passing, like somebody says, "Hey, will you do that?" And you go, "Oh yeah, sure." And then we don't. Or you tell yourself, "Okay, I'm gonna eat better," and then we don't. Or, man, I really need to get some sleep. Right? I'm talking to myself here. I got the mirror up right now, and then we don't. Right? So, what happens over all of this time, all these commitments that we've made to ourselves or others, we fall down on way too many of them because we make more commitments than we really even realize. Right. So the idea here in reigniting self-trust is we have to turn that inner critic, that devil that sits on your shoulder and tells you how terrible you are and how insignificant you are and how you're not worthy and all the limiting beliefs. We have to turn that voice into the inner coach. Right. And those of you that know me know that coaching volleyball is my secondary passion. Even though I'm retiring, it's a long story that I'll have to tell you at some other time. But if I were to talk to these young people that I've coached in volleyball the same way I talk to myself internally at times, I would be probably arrested, to be honest with you. I would probably never be able to coach again. Right. So some of the things that we say to ourselves is really not good. And yet it's okay to get away with that internally, yet we would never let anybody else get away with that externally. So what are the things, right? So we have to have some affirmations. We have to understand that we got to stop shooting on ourselves, let go of the past, looking ahead towards the future, understanding that you are good enough, you are worthy of it. Regardless of what you think yourself right now, there are people out there that believe that you're worthy of it. And if you're struggling to find that person, reach out to me because I believe you're worthy of it. Period. Right? And I will argue with you about that until you agree with me. But the reality is, we need to reignite that self trust, and there are some mechanisms and tools that we have that we can provide to you. All right. So that's the plant phase, right? That's really getting our mindset right. I'm taking 100% responsibility. I really deep down know why, and I'm driven by that passion, and I believe that I can do it. Right? And once I have those three things, boy, I've got a really, really strong seed in the ground. The roots are nice and thick, and even if I've got a little skinny tree at the start of this, even the strongest winds can't blow us over because our roots are so strong with those three core things. All right. Then we get into the prepare phase. And this is kind of the, okay, how are we going to do it? Now, the be a goal getter, which is number 4, kind of stands on the line between plant and prepare. But the reality is, we need to start now putting what it is that we want to do. Okay, we've got this purpose, the reason that we're doing it. But the be a goal getter is really about what is exactly that going to look like at some point in the future. And being a goal getter is different than being a goal setter. Being a goal setter is all about saying, yep, I have this wish desire. And then you don't do it. And then you go back to that inner critic going, see, I told you couldn't do it. Why'd you even think about that? What a waste of time and energy. Right. So a goal getter does it differently. There's a whole different path and process that a goal getter does. So being a goal getter is all about designing specifically what you want your ideal business to be. And there's some steps along the way that changes you from a goal setter to a goal getter. And so that's what we talk about in the book, the Fundamentals of Business Success book here. That's what we're going to go into deep dive. In fact, you're going to do the exercises and the Fundamentals live event coming up June 7th and 8th. Right, you can see that down on the bottom right corner of your screen. Go to osg.link/fun live. So we're going to get into all that. So that's the 4th fundamental, is really kind of getting those goals laid out in a certain way with a certain plan and mechanism that will allow you to actually reach them. Unlike most of us who, had given up on our goals after a couple weeks into the new year because we just didn't see it. Right. So we're going to become goal getters. And then the 5th fundamental is all about the relationships. Everything in your business is all about the relationship. Whether you're a solopreneur working at home alone, or you've got a spouse or partner that you're working with, other key people that are involved, maybe it's a partnership, maybe you have employees, but there are so many relationships that are crucial, including all those I just mentioned, plus your customers, plus your key vendors, plus, right? Business is all about people interacting with people, right? A lot of times people go, oh, well, I'm B2B, I'm business to business. Like, okay, but you're really P2P, person to person. You just happen to be representing businesses on both sides. So we're all P2P, whether you think right, people to people, instead of C2C, consumer to consumer, or B2C, business to consumer, right? All of those those soupy acronyms, we're all actually P2P. All right. So defining those very clearly is important in our kind of first creation. Then we get to fundamental number 6, and that is the marketing groundwork. And this is the marketing that nobody wants to talk about, right? We want to talk about the cool Facebook ad, or, man, I'm using ChatGPT and I'm making all these great emails. And everybody knows that I'm using ChatGPT. So I use it, and you can probably tell what's ChatGPT and what's not. I edit mine probably more than most. I see a lot of people who I used to get their emails, and now all of a sudden I get their emails. I'm like, that's not that guy. That's not that person. Okay. But anyhow, neither here nor there. Marketing groundwork is all about 3 core elements. Who are your ideal customers? And it's not anybody with money in their wallet. It's you have a very ideal customer that fits into your purpose and your goals. Right? Who are those people? And getting really clear on that. In fact, getting so clear that you can describe it as one person and have a conversation directly with that person. So that's the first part of this. The second part of this is, what is your brand? What are your values? What's your personality as a company? What's important to you? And then the third thing is what I would call the product mix. But really, what that is, the product mix is really, okay, your ideal customer, what is your brand? What is it that it's important to you, your values, your interests, all that kind of stuff. What is the bridge between those two things, right? What's the problem that you're solving for that ideal customer using your brand? And when you identify that bridge, then you have the product mix, because that's your product and services that you're going to be offering. So that's what marketing groundwork is getting really clear on that, on those three things. And then how do they all play nicely together? And then the seventh fundamental is the numbers game. And for some creative folks, they hear the numbers game and they're immediately, I'm like, I'm out. Spreadsheets, spreadsheets, right? I don't want any of this. Here's the good news for us small business owners. You don't have to become an accountant if you don't want to be, right? If you like accounting, great. But the numbers game is really all about three core things that every business owner needs to understand. Okay? You don't have to do the numbers, but you need to understand these numbers in your business. Number one, how much does it cost you just to be in business? What's your overhead? Okay? Just to say I'm a business owner, there is cost with that. I don't care if you're working from your kitchen table or you have a storefront. We all have costs that are associated with being a business owner. So what are those costs? Then the second crucial number is, what's your pricing strategy, right? And if it's, I'm going to see what somebody on Facebook says, they don't know anything about your numbers or your business or what's important to you. Please don't do that, right? So what's your pricing strategy? What's your business's unique pricing strategy based on your numbers, right? And then the third number that it's important for us to understand is the most valuable resource that all of us have, and it's the most finite resource that all of us have. It is time, right? So how are you going to be using your time? Is this a side hustle? Is this something that you do after your day job hours? Is this a part-time thing and you've got something else going on? Or is this your full-time? Like, how are you going to be using your time? So once we get our arms around those numbers and have a good plan for what's our overhead and how do we manage that, what's our pricing strategy, how are we going to price to our ideal customers, and then third, how am I going to use my time, and I have a plan for that, man, I am in a great place, right? So that's number 7. And we've got, boy, we've really built this prepare phase into what our business should be, how we're going to love what we do, not how somebody else would do it. Okay. And then number 8 in the prepare phase is the systematic processes. Now, that's just a big way of saying, how are you going to do the things that you do each day? And how are you going to look at that more efficiently as your business grows? Right. So systematic processes aren't just, here's how I'm going to do my production, step 1 through 4. Systematic processes is how I'm going to manage. And we don't have to spell out every single detail, but what are some of the core things, key things, right? Maybe it's interacting with our customers. Maybe it's how I do the design work, right? Systematic processes are just basically taking the working in your business tasks, finding which ones are causing you the most headache or time, or maybe both, and reviewing those to make them more efficient and to make it easier for you and your ideal customers. So don't forget that second part. Just because it's easier for you doesn't mean it's going to be easier for your ideal customer. So you have to find that mix between what's best for me as a business and what's best for my ideal customers. And ideal is also a key word in that sentence that I just shared there. It's got to be your ideal customers. What's good for them? How can we make that marriage work? And that's what systematic processes are all about. It doesn't have to be this complicated handbook manual that's 3 inches tall of standard operating procedures, right? Standard operating procedures are great, and I think every business should have them, no matter what size your business is. But it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be, we're not comparing this to anybody else. It's just, how does your business operate on a day-to-day basis, and how can we be more efficient at that? All right. So once we've given that some time. So we're really kind of preparing it, right? We're creating all this stuff in our mind for the most part at this point. Yes, we're going to be out there taking some action and doing some things. Now it's time to really kind of change gears, right? So this is where, right, the plant phase is, I would look at as very zen, very okay. Let's get the mindset right. Slow down to speed up. The prepare phase is the excitement. Okay, I'm building my dream business here. Now the pollinate phase is where the rubber meets the road. Right? Most people stop before they get here. They spend all of their time researching, waiting for somebody to tell them what to do, whatever the case may be, whatever's holding you back, right? And all of those things are very valid. But the reality is, if you ultimately are committed to being 100% successful in your business, then you must start implementing these last 5 fundamentals here, right? So number 9 is conquer fear. Right? Again, there's limiting beliefs, there's things holding you back. And so what are those things? And how can we conquer those fears, right? Fear is just a fantasized experience appearing real. So I argue, I guess, if for lack of a better term, that fear is actually a good thing. And we want that in our business, right? We want to have that because it makes us understand, hey, here's an important thing. And so when you are afraid to do something, what we should probably do is lean in, right? And most of us want to lean out or hide. Right? I used to do that. And I still find myself from time to time doing that. And that's okay. But I can go back to the foundation, the fundamentals in the book here, and we can lean into that fear and conquer it. Right. And so again, in the workshop that we're doing in June, we're going to have all sorts of exercises. We're not just going to, so the workshop in June, real quick, just a quick side note here. The workshop in June is not going to be me up there teaching this stuff, right? Because the reality is, this stuff, you've heard this stuff. And even if you haven't heard all this stuff and you're just brand new to Aaron Montgomery, this is what we should be doing, right? What we could be doing. Let me rephrase that. What we could be doing. So yes, we're going to introduce the information, but at the same time, you're going to be building your dream business. We're going to strip down your business down to the foundation and then rebuild from that foundation together. And you're going to walk out of there with a pretty well built business plus the blueprints to finish it out. All right. So we're going to conquer fear as number 9 in the fundamentals. The 10th fundamental is then, now that we've conquered fear, right? We get beyond that fear, and guess what? We're taking action. Now we need to take that action that we're taking on the other side of fear, and we need to make sure that it's very productive for us, right? Not every action is going to work out perfectly, and it's not to say that we have to get every action exactly right. We may take a step back every once in a while, and that's perfectly okay. But how do we get the most out of all of those actions is what's crucial here. And so we dig into that in the productive action fundamental and really go deep into that. Then from there, we need to intentionally build our success team. All right. So now we're into fundamental number 11. And that success team is, who are the people around you that are supporting you? As I mentioned before, it's really crucial to have those relationships mapped out in the prepare phase from fundamental number 5. Well, in fundamental number 11, we're going to put that team to work, and we're going to figure out how to best interact with them, right? So things like masterminds and other things like that, where we understand our success team and we put them to work for us. And guess what? While they're helping us, we're helping them. It's a kumbaya. Everybody's happy, and we go from there. So that's number 11, the success team. Number 12 is, we need to crave feedback. We're going to crave feedback. We're going to learn how to crave feedback. I don't know if I do or not still. I don't believe that I do. You could say differently, but I actually now crave feedback. But for a long time, I don't want to hear it. Oh, you think it's ugly? You think it sucked? Please don't tell me that. It hurts. It hurts too bad. The reality is, we need that feedback, right? The studies show that 95% of all customers that have a bad experience with a company just leave and go elsewhere, right? So those 5% of people that will complain will say, hey, this didn't meet my expectations. Those people are actually the most valuable people you can find, because that's how you're going to know how to improve, right? Now, it doesn't mean that we have to take all of the feedback as I got to change everything. Every time somebody gives me feedback, I should change it, but I should crave it so I have enough of it to be able to make the adjustments that need to be made along the way. And this is how we can also get out of the need for perfectionism, because the reality is there's no such thing as perfect. And the only way we're going to get anywhere closer to perfect is through feedback. Right. And so if you're craving feedback, then you can't wait to put the thing out there so you can get the feedback. Right. But if you don't crave feedback and you're going to be focused on the perfectionism, I got to keep, no, I don't know. I can't, nope. I got to, haven't, right. Terry told a story earlier today in Two Regular Guys where he had somebody come to his screen printing class 3 years before, and then told him they were selling their equipment. And he found out the equipment was brand new, never used. 3 years of trying to do market research, he said, right? That's perfectionism. They didn't want feedback. They want somebody to tell them that they weren't going down the right path. They were looking for perfectionism. All right. So that's number 12. And then the final bit here, the final fundamental in all of this is marginal gains. Now, it's called gains because we want to increase, right? So if you're familiar at all with compound interest, the way it works is that your interest will continue to build on itself over time, right? Even in small increments. So it kind of looks like a hockey stick. Here, let me make myself a little bit bigger. No, now I'm behind the book. Okay. Kind of looks like a hockey stick, right? So it's going to go make this little slight increase. You can't even really tell. And then all of a sudden, like that, right? It has that kind of hockey curve to it. That's what happens with compound interest. Now, it seems really gradual for a long time, but then after enough of it's built up, then the gains start getting bigger and bigger. That's what we need to do inside of what we're talking about in number 13 here, is we need to work on continuous daily improvement. So how do I each and every day get a little bit better? I've got goals. I know where I'm going, but I'm not going from point A to point Z. You cannot skip, uh, right? Do not pass go, right? And so we need to take the steps. And so each day, how are we getting a little bit better? How are we building upon the previous day's success? There's some fundamentals that or fundamental tools that we use inside of that from our fundamental 5 and other kind of time management programs and things like that. But we need to be thinking about daily, how can we get a little bit better? And just minor marginal gains will add up very quickly. And before you know it, you're going to have a business that you love. And like I said, if you come to the live event in June 7th and 8th, in 2 days, we're going to make so much progress that you're going to feel like you're already on the bottom side of that hockey stick, right? But until you do that, right, until you break it down to that foundation, you're going to be going like this. It's not going to be a hockey stick. It's going to be like a wave, up and down, big, deep valleys. Okay, we got a few highs and then back into these big, long, deep valleys because your foundation is not strong, right? On a strong foundation, we can go more like this. Yes, there's going to be little ups and downs in there, but on a strong foundation, we can go more like this. So I'm going to take that back off of there for right now. Actually, you know what? I am going to put it right back up. So real quick over there, let's wrap this up by understanding that, yes, we went in this logical 1 to 13 order, but the reality is this is a cycle. So think about it as a cycle, and we're going to spend more time in certain foundation fundamental areas than others as we go around the cycle, right? So if you're really committed to it, you probably don't need to spend a whole lot of time doing the exercises in Empower Yourself, right? Maybe just a little maintenance stuff, right? But if you're not sure about the people in your business, well, maybe you're going to be spending a little more time in fundamental 5 in the relationships. If you're stuck in the prepare phase, then you're going to let go of plant and prepare, and you're going to spend a lot more of your effort in the pollinate phase. So it's a cycle that keeps going around, but it's not equal parts all the time. As you're first starting, yeah, you probably need to touch on things a little bit, but the reality is you probably don't need to worry too much about employees when you're a solopreneur and you can't even imagine having an employee yet, right? We can understand some relationships. We can kind of dream about that a little bit, but we're not going to spend a whole lot of time there. But I'm for sure going to get my marketing groundwork right, though, because without the customers, I'm not ever going to be able to hire anybody, right? So that's the way it looks. That's the way it works. It's those three elements, three simple elements of plant, prepare, and pollinate. It's a cycle, and then we just keep touching on those 13 areas. From that, you're going to have a business that you love. So, with that being said, that's what I wanted to share with you. You guys have maybe heard me talking about the fundamentals. Maybe I've hit on little bits of them here and there, but I think this is the first time I've gone through them all the way through. We did it in 30 minutes. So, congrats to us. And thanks to those of you that did tune in. And if you guys have questions, if you're watching the replay, please let me know. And looking forward to helping and sharing and let me know what you guys need. But really, I'm looking forward to seeing you June 7th and 8th. In fact, if I can close this out real quick with a, see if I've got it in here. I'm going to have to change. Oh, I thought I put it in here. Okay. I'm going to do it. We're going to do this one anyhow. So here we go. I'm going to change to this real quick. You see a different screen on there. I don't know why I didn't put it in, move this video. Okay, here we go. You are a business owner. Congratulations. Is it what you had imagined or hoped for? Do you love what you get to do, or does your business feel like you have to each day? If you're ready to let go of what's holding you back, simplify your business, enjoy confidence in your future, and start earning what you deserve, join the OSG community in St. Louis, Missouri on June 7th and 8th. Transform your business, implement the fundamentals, and leave in full motion of your plan to fall back in love with your business. Go to osg.link/funlive. You'll see significant progress faster than you think. Why? Because we strip your business down to the foundation, equipping you with the tools for accountability. No stress, no pushing, just fun. It's time to break the cycle of overwhelm. Join us June 7th and 8th, just outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Visit osg.link/funlive. We will see you there. All right. Well, there you go. So, as I said, I'm looking forward to seeing any of you there that we can see. This is going to be the first event is always the most important. We're going to pack so much into that, right? And I know that some of you guys are hoping that we'll have another event, and that's the goal. But I really think that whatever you can do, right? This is an event that you don't want to miss. I just being honest, okay? So I'm not here to pitch that. Hopefully, you guys got the fundamentals. You understand it. Let me know what questions. Mo, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you tuning in this afternoon. Yeah, let me know. And looking forward to, we'll be back tomorrow morning. I believe it's 9 o'clock. My schedule, I haven't looked at tomorrow's schedule yet. I probably should have, but it's been a busy day, which is a good thing. 9 a.m. Kylene and I will be jumping on for a quick, short and sweet, hopefully 15, 20, 30 minutes of Small Business Saturday, where we're going to talk about the monthly review process that we use. And that is all part of what comes out of these fundamentals here. And we'll talk about why that works for us and how it works and what it's done for not only our businesses, but also for our relationship, to be honest with you. It's something that we do together. Not saying that that's what you have to do, but just what's your monthly, and it's not monthly review, monthly celebration is what it is. So tune in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time for that Small Business Saturday. And, I know we're kind of sporadic here and there. I schedule these and just kind of as things come up. So if you have certain things that you're looking to hear about, we've got a day for everything. So let's have some fun doing that. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Friday here and enjoy your weekend. And I will talk to everybody again soon.